Hey everybody, my name's Mark. Welcome to Mile High Church, and thanks for spending part of your weekend with us, especially if you're new. Our vision, oneness revealed, a world of love, peace, and abundance for all. And our mission, to serve as a spiritual beacon for personal empowerment and global enlightenment. Before we get started today, we want to give you a look at a few things coming up around Mile High Church for you and your family. Explore the intersection of spirituality and societal injustices at our community workshop, Spirituality in Times of Injustice, next Sunday with Jessica Havens, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Facilitator and Bridge Builder. And support local Title I elementary schools by purchasing plants to provide lunches for students in need. Let's ensure that every child has access to nutritious meals year-round.
Michelle and Josh here, inviting you to Easter weekend at Mile High.
We start off with Good Friday services on Friday, March 29th at 7 p.m. in the Teal Sanctuary. A beautiful, sacred, meditative service with all of us ministers and great music with Tom Litch and Laura Berman.
And Easter Sunday is all about celebrating the resurrection of Christ, but deep down, the message this year is going to be about a resurrection of humanity, because I don't know about you, Michelle, but our world, our country, that's what we need today more than anything else, a resurrection of the human heart.
We look forward to seeing you there.
For more information about anything you've heard today, stop by our event center. And for more Michelle Bailey, sign your kids up for summer camps. Connect with us online at milehighchurch.org.
Good morning, Mile High. My name is Gary Lynn Floyd. It's great to be back with you for the second week. I'd like to teach you this new song I wrote with my friend Karen Drucker called One in Unity. It goes like this. We are one. We are in unity. We are a loving, inclusive community. We are grateful. Everyone is welcome here. We spread our love into the world. Sing that again. We are one. We are in unity. We are a loving, inclusive community. We are grateful. Everyone is welcome here. We spread our love into the world. Second part. We are one in unity. We are one. We are one. We are one in unity. We are one. We are one. To the top. We are one. We are in unity. We are a loving, inclusive community. We are grateful. Everyone is welcome here. We spread our love into the world. We are one. We are one in unity. We are one. We are one. We are one in unity. We are one. We are one. We are one. We are in unity. We are a loving, inclusive community. We are grateful. Everyone is welcome here. We spread our love into the world. We spread our love into the world. Light. We spread our light into the world. Joy. We spread our joy into the world. We spread our love into the world. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Gary Lynn Floyd. What a joy it is to have you here. Isn't it great to have him here? Whoa. Well, good morning, Mile High Church. There's actually people here on a Spring Forward Sunday. Woo! Isn't that great? Welcome to those of you watching us via live stream this morning. We're so grateful you're here too. It's kind of a strange feeling, I think, when the time changes. And I happened to wake up last night at 1:58 in the morning, and I willed myself to stay awake and watch the clock change. It was like time travel. 1:58, 1:59, 3. Whoa! I'm an hour into the future. Cool. All it means, though, is Wick Hampton turned 60 an hour earlier than he'd intended to. Happy birthday, Wick! Wherever you are, there you are. Happy Happy birthday. So that's awesome. So we are so thrilled to be together. We've got a beautiful service planned for you today. And we're going to start out with a beautiful acknowledgement. It's always bittersweet when we have our memorial candle here. I love how Rama tells us that he places it on this pedestal because we honor people who have been pillars in our community, who have transitioned from this life into the next life. But it's been an interesting week because we have had 3 practitioners and former practitioners pass away in this week that we're going to honor today. So we take a deep breath as community. We give thanks for the beloved presence of these practitioners. And we start with beloved Nan Daly, who has been a practitioner here for many, many years and great service to our community. I think I knew her back when I was a young person growing up in this community. And I'm so grateful for all the time she prayed and supported us. And we just give thanks for her life and send our love to her family and friends. And we also give thanks for the life of Denise Fortman, also used to be known as Denise Bakel. She was not only a practitioner here for a number of years, she was a staff member known as, she is Don Mabry's mother, one of our American Sign Language interpreters. And so we send our love and gratitude for Denise. She's a very good friend of mine, and I'm so grateful for her friendship in my life. And we also give thanks for the beloved life of one of our key ushers here at the 10 o'clock service, Marla Swanson, who just made her transition late yesterday afternoon. And we just know that she has been a light to this community, serving us, supporting us, just been a pillar. So we light our candle this morning in memory of all 3 of these beloved beings, in celebration of their life, the legacy that they leave, not only with their families and friends, but the legacy they leave here at Mile High Church. We take a deep breath together and we continue our prayerful energy now. As we allow ourselves to go within, we're going to sing, we're going to experience some silence together, and then Reverend Michelle will pray us in. Let us begin.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angel wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angel wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
How good it is to sit in the silence, to be in this space of recognition of all of the ways that God shows up in, through, and around each and every one of us, through the beauty of nature, through the buds of spring emerging, recognizing the divine in each person that we come into contact with today and every day, knowing that there is no place and no situation where God is not, where God is right here, right now. And how good it is to know that we are one with this divine presence, one with this love that emerges through us, as us in every moment. And I'm so grateful to know all of the ways that people around the world celebrate this connection with the divine through temples, circles, mosques, simply being in nature and being right here at Mile High Church in this beloved sanctuary, here in person as well as connecting online, knowing that we are the heart of Mile High Church. We are the family that is Mile High. And how good it is to know that we have come together this day to celebrate, to bear witness, and to allow our hearts to open and deepen even more in the celebration of oneness, of possibility, of light. And I speak my word for anyone around the world, anyone who may be right here experiencing a challenge, a difficulty. And I know that the divine is fully resourcing each person right now, right here. And so we move into this service this morning with a grateful heart, knowing that all is well and that we are exactly where we need to be. And so it is.
Open your mind and unfold your heart. Relax your senses and feel every part. You ain't got a thing to fear. Looks like love that's growing here. So take your guard and let it down. Go deeper still until you come unwound. Unbound. Yeah. Breathe every breath. Yeah. Release your love without waiting, slowly unhinge. You ain't got a thing to fear. Looks like love is growing here. So take your guard and let it down. Go deeper still until you come unwound. Yeah. Unbound. You can stop waiting for love to find you. Look inside your heart. Love's already who you are. It's already who we are. Lift up your voice it up now, and let it be heard. Let it be heard. And tell me your story. Tell it to me. And don't leave out a word. Not a word, no. 'Cause I think I have been there too. I'm a seeker just like you. And you ain't got a thing to fear. Looks like love is growing here. So take your guard and let it down. Go deeper still until you come unwound. Unbound. Yeah. Lay it all down, down, down. Lay it all down. Open your mind and unfold your heart. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you, Gary. Well, today we are doing something besides inspirational readings. We are celebrating and honoring students who have recently completed a spiritual education class with us. We had 4 classes with more than 200 students in this last session. Most of them completed this past week. Another one class is completing this week, and we've invited them to be here today so that we can acknowledge their completion of this wonderful milestone. So as I acknowledge their class, I invite any students who completed that class to stand so we can celebrate you. The first class was an online class, so I suspect many of them are watching online this morning. So wherever you are, you can stand up or put something in the chat. Hey, I was in that class, because we celebrate Reverend Carol Wilkie's spiritual practice class, online class. Anybody who was in that class here? Yay, wonderful. Oh, you took that class, Robbie, great. We also want to celebrate these in-person classes, the Mystical Path with Dr. Patty Lukenbach, who was in that class. Yes. Wonderful. And this Thursday, we will complete the Powering Your Decisions class that I got to teach. Who here's from that class? Yay! Wonderful. Thank you so much. And lastly, our Beyond Limits class was taught by Reverend Josh Reeves, who's graduating from that one. Yay! Great. Thank you so much. We are grateful to these students for joining us, for trusting us by stepping into a class experience with us, and for their deepening into these principles in our community, and for the ways that we know that they will make a difference in the world. And we continue to celebrate spiritual education at Mile High Church. Thanks all.
Learn to live as friends. You and I could set aside our differences. Could it ever be reality? If God could find a way of using you and me, then an open-minded colorblind would finally be. We would live in harmony. And joy for every boy and girl. I know that we can find it in the real world. There would be no hungry mouths to feed, no more insecurity. Freedom would be more than just a word. Come on, brother, take a stand. I will be there to hold your hand. Journey sometimes can be a human zoo. Our backs turned toward the keeper. What are we about to do? Has truth seen its brighter day? Let's just find a way for us to celebrate the difference made when we won't trade our love for hate. I know we'll find a brighter day. Freedom for every boy and girl. I know that we can find it in the real world. There would be no hungry mouths to feed, no more insecurity, no. Freedom would be more than just a word. Come on, sister, take a stand. I will be there to hold your hand. Peace and joy for every boy and girl. That's love in the real world. There would be no hungry mouths to feed, and no more insecurity. Freedom would be more than just a word. Come on, brother, take a stand. I will be there to hold your hand. Peace and joy for every boy and girl. That's love in the real world. Peace and joy for every boy and girl. That's love in the real world. Peace and joy for every boy and girl. That's love in the real world. Love in the real world. That's love in the real world.
Thank you so much, Gary Lynn Floyd. What a treat it is. Beautiful songs. These are his original songs he's singing today. Isn't that amazing? Let's give thanks also for our band. Kent, who's off stage someplace. I don't know where he went. And Rob and Bijou and Mike. Yes, we are blessed. We are starting a 3-part series this week. I am honored to be able to speak today, and next week, Reverend Josh will be with us, and then the third week of our series, Dr. Roger will be with us. We're sharing this series. It's our spring renewal. It's somewhat of an annual tradition, a series right before we head into the Easter celebration, and so our theme this year is Spring Resilient. I love that theme, Spring Resilient. And we're going to talk in these 3 weeks really about a basic rule of spiritual living. This is in the description of it, that the power within you is always greater than any seeming power outside of you. And we're going to explore that power and really unearth that power and anchor our awareness into that power. Along with this 3-part series, not only comes Sunday messages, but group activities. And if you'd like to join a study group to deepen your experience of Spring Resilient, there are some groups available. You can go to our website and find a place there, find a group there, and join a group. If you are not interested in a group, the materials are available on our website on the Watch page and the Services page, where you can just open the materials and download them yourselves. There's questions to prompt your deepening into this topic in the next 3 weeks, and so there's lots of ways to take this material beyond Sundays into your life. Today, I'm launching the series by exploring the strength of vulnerability, strength in vulnerability. It is the notion that as we are our most vulnerable, truest self, we actually are stronger, not weaker. And looking at how we have been taught to build up our defenses and hide behind walls. And so how do we be that kind of strength? Well, I found a cute little joke that just made me giggle, so I'm going to share it to start us off today. It's about a German Shepherd, a Doberman, and a cat all pass away at the same time, and they find their place in heaven, and God is sitting there on a throne waiting for them. And as they approach, God welcomes them and says to the German Shepherd, you're all coming in, but tell me, what do you believe in? And the German Shepherd says, well, I believe in love and caring for everyone. And God says, wonderful. German Shepherd, you may be seated here on my right. And he says to the Doberman, what do you believe in? And the Doberman says, well, I believe in loyalty and really protecting those who I love. And God says, that's wonderful. You may sit on my left. And he says, cat, what do you believe in? The cat says, I believe you are in my chair. Right? Those of us who have cats, we get it, right? You know that's what a cat would say to God. Get out of my chair. That's my chair. I thought that was just like depicting strength when you're in front of the creator of the universe and you're claiming the chair, right? You're owning it. And it's about, I think, owning who we are at the deepest level and claiming it for ourselves and being it. And I think that this topic is really probably very perfect for me because, in all honesty, as I've shared here many times, the way that I was raised, my family of origin, my childhood, taught me right away that it was dangerous to be who I was. It was literally physically dangerous, that if I wasn't being what one of my parents needed and wanted me to be, that I was not only in trouble, not only shamed or encouraged to be different, but literally threatened with violence if I didn't be the way that he wanted me to be. And so my first lessons came in life showing me you can't be who you are because you could get in trouble. I'm sure I'm the only one in the room who ever had that kind of experience, right? But what it caused me to do was to grow up seeking safety, seeking an ability to say, I want to be as safe as possible. So let me do my best to ascertain what you might need from me right now so that I can be it. And not only that, but let me always assure myself that I am the most perfect version of me in front of everyone, that I'm always cute and charming and happy and easygoing, and I am not always feeling cute and happy and easygoing, to tell you the truth, but I learned that I had to do that, and it became a habit. And what I discovered is that by taking on that habit, I built walls to fortify my sense of safety, and I put who I was in front of people on this wall. I am this person, and it wasn't the real me, and people fell in love with the wall. Oh, I love the wall. But here I am hiding behind the wall, scared, vulnerable because I really want to be who I am, and not really feeling very loved. Oh, people love the wall, but they don't love me. In order for me to feel real love and to be really loved, I got to come out from behind the wall. That's the only way. But I had all these reasons to stay behind the wall, to hide behind the wall. And so it was coming into this church. It was doing workshops and classes and personal growth work. It was therapy. It was having relationships time and time again where I discovered that someone would fall in love with the wall and then I would show up as my real self and get rejected because that was what I was afraid of. If you knew the real me, you won't love me, you won't like me, you might reject me, you might disagree with me, you might not approve of me, and that's just too painful. I can't handle it. And not only is it too painful, it's dangerous. So I hid really well. But when I discovered that I was doing it and I began to dismantle the wall, I slowly but surely began to be strong in who I was and to be willing to be more vulnerable. And it wasn't always easy. I had times where I failed and didn't do it very well. There's a particular time back in, I think it was 1993, I was brand new in my ministry. I entered ministry in 1991. Dr. Roger Teal was the senior minister at the Huntington Beach Church of Religious Science at that time. And when I graduated from the School of Ministry here, he invited me to go be a minister on his team in Huntington Beach. So I went, and I was an assistant minister, and I looked very young and was very young. And Roger, after a couple of years, promptly hightailed it back here to Denver. He came to serve this church. And so there I was, and the board of trustees felt like they had this inexperienced kid left. There were a few other ministers there, but we were without a lead minister at Huntington Beach. And so they were reaching out, trying to get everybody they could to come and speak. And I was speaking regularly there on Sunday nights, but none of the board members ever came to that service, and they had very little confidence in me. And one week, when they were desperate for a speaker, they finally came to me and they were like, "Okay, I guess we'll let you speak." And I said, okay. And it was Mother's Day. And so I prepared this Mother's Day talk to honor and celebrate Mother's Day. But I don't know if you all remember, back at that time, the vice president of our country was Mr. Dan Quayle. And Vice President Quayle was on a tirade at the time about Murphy Brown. Remember Murphy Brown, that series? She was a single mother, and Mr. Quayle was touting very loudly how inappropriate this series was, because after all, the only true way that a child can grow up and be happy in our culture is if they are raised with a cisgender male and a cisgender female who stay together and stay in marriage so that that child might thrive. And I thought that was hogwash. I thought that was inappropriate. I thought that wasn't my life experience at all. Still feel the same way, quite frankly. I disagreed with our vice president. And so here I am giving this talk about Mother's Day, and I say that I disagree with our vice president. I wasn't rude about it, but I mention it and go on with my talk, and it's all fine. And I go the next week, and all of a sudden, in my mail at the office comes this big, long complaint letter. Apparently, a big fan of Dan Quayle's was in church that Sunday and wanted to educate me as to Dan Quayle's true platform around family values, and wrote like a 3-page letter. And I get it, I got it. I was like, okay, that's fine. But then I look at the bottom of the letter, and he has copied every board member. And I got a little nervous. Now, this was in ancient times for some of you young folks, before email, right? There was no email. So there were actual letters that had arrived at the office, and we had a folder system where all the board members had their mail that arrived and information we were giving them in the folders. So I sat there for a while pondering what I should do. And I promptly ran downstairs and I grabbed every letter out of the folders. And I grabbed them and I went back to my office and I shoved them in my desk, and then I sat there. Now I felt a slight relief because I thought, they'll never know. They'll never know. But then I started feeling a little guilty, like, all this gosh darn spiritual work I'm doing on myself to be authentic. And I battled for a while, and I sweat a lot, and I shook a lot, and finally I took a deep breath, and that inner voice that's behind the wall, it won, and it said, you know what, just face the music. This is what happens when you get out there on the edges and you have the courage to speak your mind. And I went down and I put every letter back in the folders, and then I waited, and I waited, and I waited. And the next Sunday, I saw the board president at church, and I said to her, I bet you got that letter from the Dan Quayle guy, didn't you? And she's like, yeah. She was really cool about it. And she said, look, Dan Quayle is a public figure. You don't agree with his platform. That's fine. You have a right to say you don't agree with his platform. And church went on. Oh, and life went on. Ministry went on. And they let me speak again too, which was awesome. It was no big deal. They're like, yeah, thank you. Oh, phew. This thing that I thought was going to be this big deal, that I'd made this big deal, turned out not to be. But it was one of the major times that I was tempted to hide behind a mistake, an error, a failure, something, a misstep, that I wanted to erase it and keep it out of everyone's eyes. And I learned from that. And then later on, as I went on to serve at New Vision Center in Arizona, where our theme was all about being our authentic self, and even me showing up as a spiritual leader and being willing to share times when I was struggling with ministry or in my own life, and learning so clearly, discovering to my shock and amazement that if I put the pretend me up, it was sort of like, if I put the real me up, love. Love. Love that was generated in my direction, love that I could feel and take in, love that was healing. And I learned the only true position of strength in life is to be our real self. And to be our real self requires vulnerability. Years ago, I think Dr. Roger quoted it for the first time for me, a very important piece of the story from Velveteen Rabbit by Marjorie Williams, where they're all stuffed animals talking to each other. And one of the characters says, you become. It takes a long time. That's why it doesn't often happen to people who break easily or have sharp edges or who have to be carefully kept. Generally, by the time you are real, most of your hair has been loved off and your eyes drop out and you get loose in your joints and very shabby. But these things don't matter at all, because once you are real, you can't be ugly except to people who don't understand. That's the gist of this message today. Once you are real, you can't be ugly except to people who don't understand. So this is an invitation to invite us into being real, authentic, being vulnerable, because our hiding behind our walls, it's not serving us. It's just not. It's not allowing us to be the full measure of who and what we are. My favorite teacher who teaches about this is the great Brené Brown, who talks so beautifully about vulnerability, because what she distinguishes is that we hide often because we have shame. We've either felt shamed or been shamed for who we are, who we love, how we want to live, how we want to be, what's going on. We've been shamed, and so that hurts. That does hurt. And so our strategy to meet that pain is to hide who we are, to say, I don't ever want to feel that again, so I'm going to just hide behind this wall. But she says that will never serve us. In fact, she says, if you trade your authenticity for safety, you may experience the following: anxiety, depression, eating disorders, addiction, rage, blame, resentment, and inexplicable grief. These are things that are plaguing our world right now, with all the issues that we're facing, with the divisiveness and the energy that we're facing. It's an invitation to be willing to be who we are, to seek out our authentic self and be that and express that. And it is not always easy. It requires transparency. Now, what I like about what Brené says is that transparency doesn't look like I just run around blurting out who I am to everyone who'll hear it. Yeah, well, I hate that, and I don't like that, and I never want that again, and blah, blah. That's not what we're talking about. That's not the authentic life. Here's what we're talking about. We're talking about in these places where our heart is connected in our life, these relationships and conditions and situations where we can say, I'm hiding. I'm hiding because I'm ashamed. I'm hiding because I'm afraid. I'm not having the difficult conversation that I need to have. I'm not speaking my truth. It might be in a romantic relationship, in a family situation. It might be in a work situation. It might be in just some direction or decision that we crave for our life to go, and we just haven't had the courage to be transparent about it with people around us. It also might be about sharing with other people that I'm having a hard time right now. It could be that simple. And we, in this beautiful New Thought movement, sometimes misunderstand and think to really be practicing what we teach, we must always be positive, always have a happy thought, always put our best foot forward. And so this teaching in and of itself can appear to say, you hide behind the wall, you never let people know you're struggling. But that's not why we come here, is it? We don't come to church to be some perfect automatrons who always look great. We come here to love each other. We come here to support each other. We come here to see each other. We come here to lift each other up. And we can't feel that unless we let other people know what's happening for us in a realistic way. To stand before a practitioner and say, I'm really having a hard time with my relationship with my kid. And invite a prayer. To get support in a class by talking through an issue and really sharing with a prayer partner or a fellow student. Boy, I'm really scared about my finances. This is why we come here, to speak that authentic word, because in and of itself, it releases an energy that then allows us to be available for transformation. It's not to come here to hide. And I would actually suggest your life, my life, it's not to come here to hide. We did not go through all we've gone to be born and to live this life just to hide and pretend and be safe and look perfect. That is not why we came here. We came here to be. And the love that we yearn for and we crave and we need and we deserve can only happen when we dismantle those walls and we show up just as we are. Just as we are. I always talk about people who date, and if they ask my advice, I always say, just put yourself out for what you really are. Because dating is this thing where you sit down and you put your best foot forward, and maybe you never dress up, but you dress up for the date. I gotta dress up, but it's not who I really am. I'm stunned when I work with couples who come and say, I'll ask them things about what their plans are. And one of them wants 5 children and one of them doesn't want children. And they've never talked about that before. Oh, you're going to get married. Okay. You got to put who you are forth, because when you do that, whether it's dating or a job or some friendship, the people who are in resonance with you will show up. If you put the fake you forward, you'll get what you don't want. And so it's important to be authentic and be transparent. Now, it's interesting. I'm so excited that we get to have Coot Blackson come and speak with us in April, on April 26th. We still have plenty of tickets, so we encourage you to come. And we've all been reading his book, The Magic of Surrender. Many of us have gotten the book and we've been reading it. And one of our members of our marketing team, one of our staff members who leads our graphic efforts, Lindsay Portencaso, pointed out this process on page 70 of Coot's book that is about it's called the truth process. As you leave today, there'll be a paper available for you to take home with you that has these questions on it and has information about Coot who's coming, but you can use these questions this week to support you in dismantling the wall. So here are the questions. It's a laser tool to drill down to the essence of what you really feel. Now, before I share the questions, I do want to say that prior to Coot sharing these questions, he'd been talking about working with a man who'd been married for many years, and he and his wife had decided that their marriage was definitely over, but they were living as a married couple for the sake of the children. And not that that's good or bad or wrong or right, but they were both very unhappy. And the man was extremely unhappy, feeling as though he was setting his life aside. And Coot was using these questions to just challenge him to really think about if this needed to continue to be his choice or not. So here were the questions, or are the questions. What lies am I telling myself? What lies am I telling myself? So the lie that I told myself when I hid those letters was that if I made a mistake, I would never be allowed to speak again. If I made a mistake, if I embarrassed the church, that the board would fire me. I told myself all sorts of things that turned out to be lies. Now, I didn't know it at the time. I convinced myself that I believed in the truth. But that's the point, isn't it? Most of our lies are actually assumptions we're making. If I really told you the truth about what I'm thinking, I know you wouldn't approve. No, you don't. That might be a lie you're telling yourself. The second one is, what am I pretending not to know? What am I pretending not to know? I was pretending not to know that we're adults. I was pretending not to know that mistakes can be made. What are we pretending not to know? The third question is, what is the payoff for staying stuck? Ooh, take a deep breath on that one, right? We might think, there's no payoff. I don't want to be stuck. I don't really want to be stuck in this situation. I don't like it. Yeah, that might be your conscious mind that says, don't you just love a dress with pockets? I just have to say. Take your hands out of your pocket, Michelle. Okay. What is the payoff for staying stuck? A lot of times the payoff is the comfort zone, right? Sometimes we love the comfort zone. It's all comfy and cozy and warm in here, and I don't like it at all, but I know the terrain. And so staying stuck means staying safe. But stepping out might represent a risk. And so what's the payoff? Looking at that. Number 4, what has the lie been costing me? That's a big question. What I've discovered in my life is that the lie always costs me. It always costs me my authentic self. It always costs me aliveness. Because the opposite of all those qualities that Brené suggested, depression, anxiety, all those things, is total aliveness when I am who I am. I might not get everyone's approval. I might be rejected, but at least I'm being me. At least I am embracing and expressing the fullness of who I am. And that means more than anything. What am I afraid might happen if I tell the truth? Again, back to comfort zones. Things might change. Someone might have a different opinion about me. A lot of things. But what am I afraid might happen if I tell the truth? And then lastly, what right action can I take today? If there's a part of me who's been dreaming of moving to New Zealand, maybe my right action is that I research. What is it that people do for a living? What's the cost of living in New Zealand? I just do a little something that's right action that lets a part of me know that I'm at least willing to consider what I've been thinking about. What is it in people in that part who do that career? How do they do it? Or go talk to someone who does what it is you'd love to do. Go talk to someone who's in a happy relationship and hear what works for them. There's all sorts of little right action steps that we can take every day that can help us communicate to our deepest self that we're taking little risks every single day. Because what this does is it restores our aliveness. There seems to be a foot here. It's a game, but it's a very serious game that we all came here. See, when you were made into beingness, the infinite light and life merged with the specific genetic makeup of your parents and created you and me and everyone else, this unique expression of godlyhood. And it created that so that which we are, at what I call our original godly setting, could express itself in this world. And then our systems here on earth, whether it's family or culture or experiences or decisions we made or pain we experienced, have caused us to often lose touch with that original godly setting. And every time, my sense is every time we take down a brick of that wall, that original godly setting has its expression in the world. And what was originally intended to occur upon your birth and my birth is launched into the earth. And we find our way, and we find our people, and we find our expressions, and we find our careers, and we find our dreams, and we find our desires. But I am 100% sure that if we stay hidden behind that wall, we will not find what we are looking for. And we will convince ourselves that who we are isn't enough, that we don't belong here, that this world just can't handle us, when all the while, that's not the truth. This week, go forth, use these questions to take down that wall. Be strong, be vulnerable, be willing. And I'd like to close with one last quote from the great Brené Brown. She says, "Stop walking through the world looking for confirmation that you don't belong. You will always find it because you've made that your mission. Stop scouring people's faces for evidence that you're not enough. You will always find it because you've made that your goal. True belonging and self-worth are not goods. We don't negotiate their value with the world. The truth about who we are lives in our hearts. Our call to courage is to protect our wild heart against constant evaluation, especially our own. No one belongs here more than you." Here's the thing, if you're here, you belong here. Let us have you in all your wild glory. Please join me as we pray together. Thank you. I invite our practitioner prayer partners to join me if they would like and stand for this prayer, because we stand together recognizing the one glorious life that expresses in, through, and as all of creation is God, is source, is the infinite presence, the very life itself that animates everything. And we celebrate it in all of its glory and indeed in all of its diversity. As we stand before a field of wildflowers, isn't one of the things we love best how beautiful each one is, how uniquely expressed it is, how the beauty of all the different expressions and colors and heights and widths of that wildflower field make it just an amazing thing to behold. I feel that joy in my heart and in my soul. I can see the field before me, and I allow my awareness now to turn towards all humans everywhere, and to include myself, my own image in the mirror, as I recognize that humanity is a beautiful field of wildflowers. And God is inherent in every flower, expressing fully and completely in, through, and as each expression. And I see the beauty of it all, and most especially this week, I affirm and accept that each of us sees the beauty of our authentic self, that we can find the strength as we go forth from this place this day to step more fully into the transparency of the true nature of our life, of our desires, of our heart, that we can and do have conversations and share who we are with the world, that we take ever more each day greater steps towards being who we truly are. For this we were born. For this we have come to earth. And I accept and affirm that in that choice, always present is the ever-present energy of the divine that is our strength. That is where we can draw courage. And we do that as we pray, as we meditate, as we make these choices, as we have the courage to stand fully in our life, And I'm so grateful that this is who and what we are now. So grateful for the authentic expression of all beings everywhere. So grateful that this is true. For I know that all good is expressed through this. And I just give thanks as I release this prayer now into the action of that universal law. I let go, I let it be, and so it is.
You ain't got a thing to fear. Looks like love that's growing here. So take your guard and let it down. Go deeper still until you come unwound. Unbound.
Thank you, Gary. Beautiful. Hey, those of you who are sitting in our sanctuary and you think you have an empty chair next to you, that's an illusion, because 428 people are with us today watching on live stream. We welcome them all. Hello, our online viewers. Yes. Today they represent Arizona, Oregon, Oklahoma, New Mexico, Nevada, Alaska, Hong Kong, Germany, Japan, and Kenya. Great to see you all here. Isn't that wonderful? Yeah. And there are many ways. We're so grateful for all the ways that you give into Mile High Church, and many ways that each one of us can express our abundance through our giving. And we want to let you know that we have a very special campaign launching right now. It's called our Spring into Action, and you're going to be receiving new invitations and emails inviting you to participate. It's a 5-week campaign to end our fiscal year in a powerful, financially abundant way. And we are blessed that we've had a couple who would like to remain anonymous, but who have launched the campaign with a lead gift of $10,000. So we are grateful. Yeah, we can applaud that and say thank you to them. So over the next 5 weeks, we hope that you will join us in some way, and any gift matters, all gifts matter, and indeed every gift that comes in, anyone who gives during this time will be entered into a contest, and we will be drawing out a name to give away a couple tickets to the Coot Blackson event in person or online. So we thank you for that, and we're so grateful always for any way that you choose to support us in your giving. And now let us say our affirmation together, so please join me. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. And so it is.
I'd like to invite you to join me on this song. It's a very simple song based on the prayer of St. Francis. Make me an instrument of peace. It goes like this. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument of peace. Sing all that with me. Here we go. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument of peace. Where there is hatred, where there is hatred, I will love. Where there is sadness, where there is sadness, I will bring joy. Where there's darkness, where there is darkness, I will shine. Claim it for yourself. I am an instrument of peace. Make it a prayer. Make me an instrument of peace. All right, let's sing all that one more time. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument of peace. Lift it up this morning. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument of peace. Where there is hatred, where there is hatred, I will love. Where there is sadness, where there is sadness, I will bring joy. Where there is darkness, where there is darkness, I will shine. Claim it again. I am an instrument of peace. Make me an instrument of peace. Claim it one more time for yourself. I am an instrument of peace. Thank you.
Oh, Gary Lynn Floyd, everyone. Thank you so much for this blessing of your music. And he will be out in the lobby, everybody, so you can go out and take a little of his music home with you. You can also visit his website, which is up on the screen online. So if you are here at Mile High Church for the first time this morning, I want to give you a heartfelt welcome. And if you would like to learn more about the programs and the offerings we have here at Mile High Church, I will be out in the Welcome Center after service today. And you can see that our beloved practitioners are making their way down front, and I invite all of you to consider being with one of them for a powerful prayer, an affirmative prayer after the service today. And speaking of today, we have the Healing Light service at 5 p.m. here, and we also have the labyrinth that will be set up for walking either indoors, or what a beautiful spring day we have today. Consider walking the labyrinth outdoors as well, and then join us for that Healing Light service at 5.
It's a great idea. Wonderful. And we have, through our store, a monthly book study now, where we'll study a different book every month. If you'd like to join the book study, Reverend Chris will be leading it, and she's going to be studying Falling Upward by Richard Rohr. That's a really amazing book. And so you can join her for March 14th and 28th. It'll be out here in the lobby area. So those of you who like to read and read along with other people, please join us. And then we want you to know that on Saturday, March 23rd, from 11 to 3, we are having a big going away celebration for Kent and Kathleen Rauchen-Strauss. Isn't that? Yeah, it's going to be beautiful. 2-hour open house. Yeah. It'll be an open house. You're welcome to come and experience and say goodbye to them and love on them. And I won't tell you everything because there's some surprises, things he doesn't need to know. And then we also will be honoring him on Sunday, the 24th of March in service. So please be here with us for that, okay? And one last thing, I don't see Josh and Nancy June here. They might be eating cake, but we are celebrating 5 years of lead ministry for Josh and myself. Yeah, isn't that fun? So we have cake in the community center. If you'd like to join us in celebrating, go eat a piece of cake, okay? Please stand with us for the benediction and peace song. As we go forth from this place, we do so with great love, with great intention in our hearts to be our authentic self, to feel that strength within us, around us, and through us. I just give thanks that this is who we are and what we are right now, letting it be, letting it go, and so it is.
On earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as our power, family all are we. Let us walk with each other perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let